Nobelpriset i litteratur år 2016 tilldelas Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan's Nobel Prize in October of last year sparked a worldwide debate over the literary merit of musical lyrics.
It was by far the most unusual Nobel Award in recent time.
There is not a bigger giant in the history of American music.
It was a voice from a new world.
The discussion reached all the way to Notre Dame High School, where even our editor, named after Bob Dylan, had an opinion.
Dylan, do you think Dylan should have won the Nobel Prize?
Of course.
Very few doubt the musical achievement of Bob Dylan, so the central question is whether his music lyrics can be considered literature.
Dylan was able to take, or indeed took, everyday happenings, injustice, things going on just in the times, and wrote music about them that became mainstream and that captured a whole generation's imagination. He took pop music, folk music, and elevated it to a high art form.
We also spoke with friend of Mr. Good and music industry professional Peter Jesperson.
I felt for a long time that there were a number of musicians that were writing lyrics of real poetic quality. And certainly, I think there had been poetic lyrics in music for centuries. But at the time I was growing up, the two artists that demonstrated that the most and maybe caused a little bit of a renaissance in terms of poetry and music were Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen.
The debate over whether music lyrics can be considered literature doesn't just extend to rock and roll or folk music. Some see literary qualities in hip-hop. To better understand why, we spoke to head of the English department and hip-hop fan, Miss Hines.
I actually like rap a lot. I've liked it since the 90s. Tupac, NWA, Notorious B.I.G., Tribe Called Quest. And then I've just sort of continued that even into my adulthood, which drives my family insane.
When I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the street.
I do believe lyrics could be literature. I think when you look at rappers like Tupac and some of the prose that's within his lyrics, it tells a story.
My innocence limited, the experience lacked. 10 of us with no tentative tactic that cracked. The mind of a literate writer, but I did it in fact.
This discussion about hip-hop and literature is not just happening at Notre Dame. Last year, hip-hop artist Kendrick Lamar visited an English classroom who was using his album to study the African-American experience in America. And for the first time, Harvard archives several hip-hop albums in its library. With all this in mind, Ms. Hines says there might be a future for studying music lyrics at Notre Dame.
But I do see a value in it. I would love at Notre Dame to have even a Harlem Renaissance course where maybe we could start involving music within the course. So I even see it at a high school level. I don't think I would necessarily expose our students to graphic rap lyrics in a course, but I think there's ways you can do it and make it look really nice and attract a lot of kids that like music but also enjoy literature.
Well, I think it's important to recognize great writing and the power of words, whether they're to be read or spoken or sung.
Perhaps one of the reasons the Nobel Prize Committee gave Bob Dylan the prize was to help inspire these types of conversations.
It's precisely because it's controversial that we picked him. We want you to face this or to confront something. You know, poetry and the literary scene has changed since the first half of the 20th century. You know, we've moved on and maybe we have to recognize it. I don't know.
I'm Peter Smith. This is Notre Dame Television.
Like a stone by the time